Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Social Sciences, SOSS, Bachelor's Degree Programs, Bachelor of Arts, Honours, Political Science, BAPSH, Core Courses, CC, BPAC-101 Perspectives on Public Administration, Block-1 Conceptual and Classical Perspectives, Unit-1 Concept and Significance of Public Administration, 1.1 Objectives. After reading this unit, you should be able to times explain the meaning, nature and scope of public administration, bring out the difference between public and private administration, and O times examine the significance of public administration. 1.2 Introduction. Public administration is vital to efficient running of the government. As a specialized academic field, it deals essentially with the machinery and procedures of government. It is the action part of the government. It is both an institution of public service and a center of power. As an institution of public service, it provides services to the people and promotes public interest. As a center of power, public bureaucracy tends to be concerned with its own privileges. In recent years, the discipline has been undergoing rapid changes and has vastly expanded its frontiers. It has evolved and is still evolving to respond to the challenges of changing times. The onset of liberalization, privatization and globalization, LPG, has led to significant changes in the roles of individuals and institutions. And public administration is no exception. It represents a paradigm shift from the traditional model of public administration to new public management, NPM, model, which favors a dominant presence of market forces over the state, for effective governance and efficient delivery of goods and services. Concepts like competition state, managerial orientation, contracting out, debureaucratization, downsizing, etc., have started gaining prominence in many countries. The new perspective has emerged as a management tool for achieving developmental goals. It has brought in reforms which have attempted to create a new entrepreneurial, user-oriented culture in public organizations, with focus on performance measurement and autonomy to the organizations and individuals in contrast to the traditional model. In fact, managerialism is a determined effort to implement the 3 E's of economy, efficiency and effectiveness at all levels of government activities. Public administration, in present times, has thus become complex and is slowly moving towards enlightened public governance. In this unit, an attempt will be made to define the terms administration and public administration. It will discuss the nature, scope and significance of public administration. The unit will analyze the relationship between public and private administration and bring out the significance of public administration. 1.3 Meaning of public administration. Public administration is an aspect of a more generic concept of administration. Therefore, before understanding the meaning of public administration, it is necessary to understand the meaning of the word administration. Let us see what the term administration means. Times defining administration. The English word administer is derived from Latin word administrare, which means to care for or to look after people, to manage affairs. In its literal sense, the term administration means management of affairs, public or private affairs. Administration is a process permeating all collective efforts, be it public or private, civil or military, large-scale or otherwise, and is thus universal in nature. Administration is a cooperative effort through which the laid-down goals and objectives are fulfilled. Ian Gladden, in his book, An Introduction to Public Administration, defined administration as a long and slightly pompous word, but it has a humble meaning, for it means to care for or look after people, to manage affairs, is determined action taken in pursuit of a conscious purpose. Gladden, 1952. Administration means organizing and using men and material in order to accomplish a purpose or a goal. Administration joins groups of people who coordinate and cooperate so that the desired goals are achieved. In other words, in order to achieve the desired goals and objectives, we need to organize and direct human and material resources. It is a universal process and occurs in diverse institutional settings. Based on these settings, administration is divided into public administration and private administration. The former refers to administration, which operates in a governmental setting, while the latter refers to the administration, which operates in non-governmental setting, that is, business enterprises. In short, administration, thus, means a cooperative effort by a group of people in order to achieve a common objective. It is the specialized vocation of managers who have skills of organizing and directing men and material just as definitely as an engineer has the skill of building structures or a doctor has the skill of understanding human ailments. Sharma and Sadana, 1998. In other words, it is a goal-oriented, purposive, coordinative and cooperative activity which is undertaken by a group of people in pursuit of some common goal or goals. Thus, there are certain distinct objectives of administration. These are goal orientation, pursuit of conscious purpose, direction of human and material resources, determined action, cooperation for accomplishment of common goals, times systematic ordering of affairs, calculated use of resources, coordination and control of persons, getting things done. Public administration is a segment of the larger field of administration. It is simply regarded as bureaucracy, heedless to the fact that bureaucracy as a particular organizational form is not only found in the government, but also in private and third sector organizations. Ghameja, 2003. Public administration is a discipline which is concerned with the organization and the formulation and implementation of public policies for the welfare of the people. It functions in a political setting in order to accomplish the goals and objectives which are formulated by the political decision makers. It is also called governmental administration, as the adjective public in the word public administration means government. The focus of public administration, thus, is on public bureaucracy, i.e., bureaucratic or administrative organization of the government. Features of public administration are bureaucratic decision-making, point organization and procedures of policy process, times detailed systematic execution of law, enforcement of public policy, performance of civilian functions, times operation of administrative branch, times art and science of management as applied to state affairs. What and how of government, on the whole? It can be said that public administration is nothing less than the whole government in action. It is an instrument through which the goals and objectives of the government are fulfilled. In other words, it is the action part of government. The means by which the purposes and goals of government are realized. Chakrabarti and Bhattacharya, 2003. In fact, public administration lends itself to two usages. It is an activity, and it also refers to the discipline or subject of intellectual inquiry and study. Before proceeding to the nature of public administration, it becomes pertinent to define the three terms, viz., administration, organization and management, which are used interchangeably. Though the three terms are used interchangeably, yet there is a specific difference in their meanings. This distinction is made clear by William Schulz. According to him, administration is the force which lays down the object for which an organization and its management are to strive and the broad policies under which they are to operate. An organization is a combination of the necessary human beings, materials, tools, equipment and working space, appurtenances brought together in systematic and effective correlation to accomplish some desired object. Management is that which leads, guides and directs an organization for the accomplishment of a predetermined object. Administration, thus, is a broader concept and includes within its fold both organization and management. 1.4 Public administration, nature and scope. There are two broad views with regard to the nature of public administration, viz. A. The managerial view, and B. The integral view. The managerial view, public administration, in this context, encompasses only the managerial activities and not the technical, clerical and manual activities, which are non-managerial in nature. Thus, administration, according to this view, constitutes the activities of only the top persons. Herbert Simon and Luther Gulick among others support this view. Administration, according to this view, is same in all the spheres as the managerial techniques are same in all the fields of activities. Administration has to do with getting things done with the accomplishment of defined objectives. The integral view, according to this view, public administration encompasses within its fold all the activities which are undertaken to accomplish the given objective. In other words, public administration is the sum total of managerial, technical, clerical and manual activities. Thus, administration, according to this view, constitutes the activities of all persons from top to bottom. Thinkers like L.D. White and Marshall E. Dymock subscribe to this view. Administration, according to this view, depends upon the subject matter of the concerned agency, that is, it differs from one sphere to another sphere. There are two views regarding the scope of public administration, viz. A. Post-Corb view and B. Subject matter view. The post-Corb view. This view of the scope of public administration was advocated by Luther Gulick. He believed that administration consisted of 7 elements. He summed up these elements in the acronym post-Corb, each letter of which implies one element of administration. Luther Gulick explains these 7 elements of administration or functions of the chief executive in the following way. P. Planning, working out in broad outline the things that need to be done and the methods to be adopted for accomplishing the purpose in hand. Organizing, building up the structure of authority through which the entire work to be done is arranged into well-defined subdivisions. And coordination, S. Staffing, appointing suitable persons to the various posts under the organization, and the whole of personnel management, D. Directing, making decisions and issuing orders and instructions, embodying them for the guidance of the staff, co-coordinating, interrelating the various parts of the work and eliminating overlapping and conflict, R. Reporting, keeping superiors and subordinates informed of what is going on, and arranging for the collection of such information through inspection, research and records, and B. Budgeting, all that goes with budgeting in the form of fiscal planning, accounting and control. Sharma and Sadana, OPCIT. The subject matter view. Though the post-Corb view of scope of public administration was acceptable for quite a long time, there arose a reaction, in the course of time, against this view. It was then realized that the post-Corb activities, techniques, can neither be the whole of public administration nor even the significant part of it. This view advocates that the problems of administration are same in all the agencies regardless of the peculiar nature of the functions they perform. Thus, it overlooks the fact that different administrative agencies are faced with different problems. Moreover, the post-Corb represents only the tools of administration, whereas the substance of administration is something different. The real core of administration consists of the various services performed for the people like defense, health, agriculture, education, social security, etc. These services have their own specialized techniques, which are not covered by the common post-corp techniques. In other words, each administrative agency has its own local post-corp because of the subject matter with which it is concerned. Further, Gulick's common post-corp techniques are also influenced by the subject matter of the administration. Thus, the post-corp view is technique-oriented rather than subject-oriented. It ignores the essential element involved in public administration, namely knowledge of the subject matter. This is the reason why the subject matter view of the scope of public administration arose. It lays emphasis on the services rendered and the functions performed by an administrative agency. It advocates that the substantive problems of an agency depend upon the subject matter, i.e., services and functions, with which it is concerned. Therefore, the study of public administration does not only include the techniques of administration but also the substantive concerns of administration. However, the post-corp view and subject matter view are not mutually exclusive but complement each other. They together constitute the proper scope of the study of public administration. As has been rightly observed, post-corp and subject matter are two blades of the scissors of the instrument called public administration. 1.5 Relationship between public and private administration. Public administration refers to the business of the state and is concerned with the ends and strategies of government policies, programmers and decisions. It operates in a political governmental setting. Private administration, on the other hand, refers to the management of business owned and operated by private individuals. It operates in the non-governmental setting, that is, business enterprises. Hence, they are also known as governmental administration and business administration respectively. Difference between public and private administration. Paul H. Appleby, Sir Josiah Stamp, Herbert A. Simon and Peter Drucker are of the view that public and private administrations are two different things. The two types of administration can be differentiated on the following grounds. Public administration is public in nature. Hence, the main aim of public administration is to serve the public and to promote community welfare. It is characterized by service motive. The private administration, in contrast, is characterized by profit motive, not social service. Its objective is to maximize profit. All their efforts are directed to this end. Also, the public administration carries a greater social prestige than the private administration because of its social role. Public administration operates strictly according to laws, rules and regulations. The administrators cannot do anything contrary to or in excess of legal power. In private administration there are general laws, which regulate the business. Individual business firms have considerable flexibility. Public administration is subjected to political direction in most policy matters. It is the minister who lays down the broad policy outlines under which the bureaucrats have to implement the policy.
In private administration, there is no such political direction. Only in emergency situations, such political direction can be exercised. The ends which it pursues are its own and its objectives do not depend upon political decisions. Public administration has to be consistent in its treatment. In other words, the principle of consistency of treatment is the watchword of public administration. Its acts and decisions are regulated by uniform laws, rules and regulations. It means that in public administration, any show of discrimination, bias or partiality will evoke public censure or legislative commotion. Administrators have to be very consistent and impartial while dealing with the public. They must give equal treatment to all the citizens without any favor or prejudice. Private administration, on the other hand, can practice preferential treatment. In private administration, discrimination is freely practiced in the selling of products, choice of products, and in fixing the prices of the products. Being public, public administration is open to constant public scrutiny. The actions of the administrators are much more exposed to the public gaze. The achievements of administrators rarely get publicity, but a little fault hits the newspaper headlines in no time. A public administrator is accountable for all the acts and the decisions through legislative oversight and judicial review. In other words, the moral and ethical standards in public administration are much higher as compared to private administration. Public gaze is minimal in private administration, and it is not so closely watched by the media. The tenure of the administrators is quite secure as compared to the private sector employees. Apart from this, they enjoy many benefits and privileges while in job and even after retirement. This kind of privilege is not available to the private sector employees. In public administration, there is monopoly of government and it does not allow private parties to compete. Services like post and telegraph, railways, currency and coinage are exclusively provided by the government. Monopolism in private sector is missing. Several organizations compete with each other to supply the same commodity and product. Public administration is subjected to external financial control. It means that finances of public administration are controlled by the legislature. In other words, legislature authorizes the income and expenditure of the executive branch. The executive cannot collect or spend money of its own will. Thus, we see that the administration and finance are separated in public administration. Private administration, on the other hand, is not subject to the principle of external financial control. It is free to manage its finances as it likes. The nature of functions performed by public and private administration is also different. Public administration is more comprehensive. It deals with the various types of needs of the people. It carries out functions which are more urgent and vital for the very existence of the society, for example, defense and maintenance of law and order. Private administration, on the other hand, carries out less vital functions, like manufacture of cloth, supply of sugar, etc. Public administrators function anonymously. In other words, the functioning of civil service in government is characterized by the doctrine of anonymity, which is the counterpart of the principle of ministerial responsibility. Thus, the minister assumes responsibility for the actions of the civil servants working under him. This is not so in private administration. Public administration differs from private administration in the measurement of efficiency as well. Private administration functions on a level of efficiency superior to that of public administration. Since the motive is to make profit, individuals are wholeheartedly devoted to their work and business. In other words, the resource use or profit earning, i.e., input-output relationship, is the criterion of measuring efficiency in private administration. But the same criterion cannot be applied while measuring efficiency in public administration. Thus, public administration has acquired certain distinctive features which distinguish it from private administration. Public accountability is its hallmark, consistency of treatment its watchword, and consciousness of community service its ideal. Similarities between public and private administration, even though they differ in certain respects. There are many similarities between public and private administration. In fact, a group of administrative thinkers like Henry Fayol, M.P. Follett, Luther Gulick and Lyndall Erwick do not make a distinction between public and private administration. They are of the view that all administration, whether public or private, is one and possess the same basic features, and it is undesirable to separate public from private administration. There is much in common between the two and the difference is only of degree not of kind. The specific similarities between public and private administration are as below: the managerial techniques and skills of planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling, and so on are the same in both. Times both are organized on the basis of the principles of hierarchy, both have uniformity in accounting, office management and procedures, purchases, disposals, statistics, stocking, and so on, both are being influenced by the practices and standards of each other. Thus, IGNOU and PRES have described the emergence of public corporation as a halfway house between its commercial prototype and the traditional governmental department. IGNOU and PRES OPCIT. Both have similarities so far as the problems of organization, personnel, and finance are concerned. The similarity between them is demonstrated by the fact that there is a mutual exchange and rotation of personnel between the two. In India, we have seen that the Administrative Staff College of India located at Hyderabad organizes common training programs for the personnel of both MON training programs for the public and private sectors. With the onset of globalization and the new management perspective, the boundaries between public and private administration are getting blurred. The public sector is expected to work on the lines of the private sector. In other words, it is expected to follow the principles of 3 E's efficiency, economy and effectiveness along with profitability. The informal organs such as people's associations, community-based organizations along with formal organs of the state participate and discharge activities that were earlier in the public domain. Apart from this, the private sector, functioning along market lines and the regulatory framework of government, undertakes functions that have been the prerogative of the public sector. Medary, 2010. We can, thus, conclude that in many ways, the differences between public and private administration are diminishing. They complement and supplement each other. 1.6 Significance of public administration. Public administration has become an essential segment of modern society, which has witnessed the emergence of what administrative thinkers call as administrative state. This means that every activity of individuals from womb to tomb is regulated and controlled by the state agencies, that is, administrative agencies. The significance of public administration is expanding day by day. The functions which it performs have expanded in scale, range and nature and is still increasing. It is necessary for not only maintaining public order, social security, welfare and economic infrastructure, but also for the delivery of goods in terms of services like safety, utilities, and enforcement of contractual obligations, as also for ensuring the rule of law and treating all the citizens equally. Its nature, contents and scope all go to make it the heart of the problem of modern governments. White, 1958. Public administration is of utmost importance for the developing countries, which have laid down for themselves numerous plans and programs of social and economic development. In developing democracies like India, which is striving hard to provide happiness and prosperity to its large number of grieving and impoverished population, public administration has become the instrument of change and development and a powerful agency for achieving national integration. As an instrument of change, especially in countries like India, public administration has successfully implemented various development programs like community development, poverty eradication, employment guarantee schemes, housing schemes, rural connectivity, rural electrification, health care schemes, and so on. As a result, public administration has definitely changed the face of rural India by providing the basic minimum facilities to the rural poor and improving their living conditions. As an instrument of national integration, it has played a very important role in rehabilitating the refugees after partition, as also integrating the princely states with the Indian territory Chakrabarti and Chand. 2012. Public administration is a great stabilizing force in a society. Governments come and go, but administration does not change. In this way, it provides continuity and linkages between the old and new programs. In a diverse country like India, public administration becomes all the more important because it acts as a harmonizing and integrating force. It has brought the people of different caste, class, community, and religion on a common platform. In other words, it has created an environment where people with varied backgrounds can live together. In a way, it has also provided stability and strength to Indian democracy. Public administration is all about governance. It is the heart of development. It is the interface between the market and the civil society. In the words of Frederickson, 1999, public administration is moving towards theories of cooperation, networking, governance and institution building and maintenance in response to the declining relationship between jurisdiction and public management in a fragmented and disarticulated state. 1.7 Conclusion: the role of the state is undergoing a sea change. The welfare state has been transformed to a corporatist state. The market forces have entered in the domain, which was earlier the exclusive jurisdiction of the state, bringing about a change in the role of the state. From a doer, it has become a facilitator and a regulator. Public administration has thus assumed a very important role in modern society. Public administration is the basis of government, whether in monarchy or in democracy or in a dictatorship. It is the instrument for executing the laws, policies and programs formulated by the state. It is the instrument of social change and economic development, especially in the so-called Third World, i.e., developing countries, which are engaged in the process of social well-being and nation-building, and an instrument of national integration, particularly in the developing countries, which are facing the challenges of subnationalism, secessionism, class wars, and so on. This unit discussed the significance of public administration by contrasting it with private administration. It also described the various perspectives or viewpoints on its meaning, nature and scope. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.